Hey, Bob Heilig here, your virtual upline. Would you like to master the art of closing? And would you like to know exactly what to say and what questions that you should ask a prospect when you're done a presentation to help you recruit more people into your business? Well, if the answer is yes, then stick around, because in the training today, I am going to give you the exact questions that I've asked prospects over my 10-year network marketing career, which have helped me personally recruit over 500 people into my business. So stay tuned. So the first thing I'd like to do is talk about the way that professionals and top earners approach closing, because it's very different from what I see most people doing. The first distinction I'd like to make is professionals are emotionally detached when it comes to closing. See, they're not attached to the result. They understand that at the end of the day, it's a numbers game, and that out of every 10 people they talk to, even if they're able to recruit just 3 or 4, then they literally are going to end up in the Network Marketing Hall of Fame. So what that means is the vast majority of people, they realize they're going to say no and they're not going to be interested. So they're just not attached to the result. The second thing is this. They focus on education and understanding. They realize that it's not their job to convince people and sell every single person that they should do their business. They focus on educating people, and they want to make sure that prospects understand what they have to offer so that they can make an educated decision. It's a much different posture. They're also very assumptive. When a prospect tells them no, they are genuinely shocked. Now, what I see most people doing is exactly the opposite. They are very apologetic and they come across as very needy, and that actually makes people less interested. They also realize, professionals, that at the end of the day, prospects are joining them and not their company. So what they do is they try to communicate their value as a potential business partner and sponsor. And the last thing they do is they ask what are referred to as leading questions. And now that'll bring me to, what do you say when you're in front of a prospect? So here's the process that I followed for the last 10 years, which has helped me recruit over 500 people. As soon as I'm done a presentation, I immediately get into my closing sequence. And the first thing I'm going to ask a prospect is something like, did that make sense? Or what did you like best? See, those are leading questions. They are eliciting a positive response. I want to find out what they liked, and whatever that is, I want to identify and say, you know what? I couldn't agree more. So I know their hot button. Now notice what I didn't ask. What did you think? I never say, what did you think? Because that's eliciting more of a critical analysis. It's not a leading question. Now, after I acknowledge whatever they say, here's the next question I ask as a follow-up. I say, if I'm talking to John, I say, John, let me ask you this. On a scale of 1 to 10, 1 being you have no interest whatsoever, and 10 being you're ready to get started today, where do you see yourself? Now, I want John to answer, because here's what it's going to let me do. It's going to let me start to get inside John's head and realize, how interested is he? Now, when John answers, if he says anything less than a 5, then here's what I know. I've got some work to do. He's probably not going to be getting started today. So my next question that I'm going to ask John is this. I'm going to say, well, John, you said you're at a 4. What information would you need to make that 4 a 5, 6, or 7? What information would you need to make that 2 a 4, 5, or 6? And he's going to tell me exactly what his objection is and what he needs. And then here's what I'm going to do. I'm going to schedule a time for a follow-up, for the next exposure. Maybe I'm going to give him a sample of the product. Maybe he's going to come to a meeting. But I'm going to just set up that next exposure, because I know that a 5 or less, they just need some more information. And I know at the end of the day, if I keep exposing people, that the close is going to happen naturally. Once they're educated and they understand, they're going to make a decision. Now, if John says anything above a 6 or above, 6, 7, 8, I know I've got a shot to close John today. So here's the question that I'm going to ask John. If he says, you know, I'm at a 7, I'll say, John, I'm so excited to hear that. I want to ask you a couple of questions. And I go into this 4-question close that I'm going to go through. And I'm going to say, John, here's the first thing I want to ask you. How much money would you need to make on a part-time basis here to consider this worthwhile? And I want John to give me an answer. Maybe he says $2,000 a month. And I say, okay, John, question number 2. How many hours would you be willing to commit per week to make that $2,000? Now, maybe he says, I would put in 10 hours a week. And I say, John, here's the third question. How many months would you be willing to work 10 hours a week to make an extra $2,000 a month? Maybe John says, I'd be willing to work 6 to 8 months. And here's the fourth question, and here's the close. John, if I could show you a way working 10 hours a week with me over the next 6 to 8 months to generate an extra $2,000 a month, would you be ready to get started today? John says yes. I move right into the close. Now, the last thing I want to mention is this. See, always be acting as a consultant. If John tells me that, I want to make 10 grand a month, but I'm only willing to work 3 hours a week. Here's what I say to John. Hey, John, let me ask you a question. Does that sound realistic to you? Because if you know of a business where you can work 3 hours a week and make 10 grand a month, I'm in that business. Let's go do it together. John, the reality is that's not realistic, and I want to help you adjust your expectations. So we either have to lower your income goal or we have to increase your effort. And I'm going to go through and have this conversation with John. And guys, this is so valuable because what you're doing is you're demonstrating your value as a sponsor, as a consultant, and as somebody that's there to help them. So that's my closing sequence. Follow it to the T. I'm telling you, it'll work like a charm. And if you do, then I think you'll see better results and you'll recruit more people into your business. So that's the message. Thanks for joining me, guys. Don't forget to check me out on my website, bobheilig.com. I've got a ton of great free training on there, and I've got a free giveaway. It's the 4 mental enemies of success, a free audio training that I'll give to you, and that's going to help you develop the mindset of a top earner. So thanks for joining me, guys. I'll see you real soon. Take care.